We begin in the High Court in Pretoria, where two matters have been unfolding today. In the first, Malesela Teffo, who represented accused 1 to 4 in the trial of the men accused of murdering Senzo Meyiwa, has now been disbarred from practicing as an advocate. Also, in the actual Meyiwa trial, that's now been postponed after one of the defense advocates was feeling unwell, I should say. Linda Mnisi has been tracking both stories, joins us now live. And let's begin with the latest, Linda, being the judgment against Advocate Malesela Teffo. What has the court said?
Well, you would have heard not so long ago the Pretoria High Court making that decision, Tembegile, to strike him off the role of legal professionals. It follows, of course, about 22 complaints which are not related to the Senzo Meyiwa case. If I'm not mistaken, these date back to about 2015, which have been brought to the Legal Practitioners Council, which has then subsequently taken that action against him. So those complaints, center around misconduct as well as misappropriation of funds. What the allegation is that Advocate Malesela Teffo would also take money from clients without rendering a service. So that matter was brought before the Pretoria High Court to have him officially struck off the roll, and that's where we saw that ruling being handed down today by the Pretoria High Court. He's in fact also saying that he also needs to hand over or hand back his certificate, the certificate of practicing, handing it back, as well as, of course, prohibited from handling or operating any of his bank accounts, the bank accounts that is said to have received money from while still practicing as an advocate. So a number of directives then are being, handed down by this particular court. But it's also quite important to note that they've given him about 15 days to respond to this judgment. So he has about 15 days to respond. I spoke to him this morning, Tembegile, to find out whether or not he would be in court, and he said that he wasn't invited in court and would not be coming to court today. This is after, of course, making a surprise visit yesterday for the Senzo Meyiwa matter, where he asked to see the judge, but the legal representatives in that matter refusing to go and see the judge with him. Subsequently, security was called, and that's when he was seen disappearing, or in fact disappeared from the court. So today then, the judge or the LPC getting that order that he can now be struck off the roll.
Let's talk about the Meyiwa trial, because we've adjourned today earlier than usual, but not before. Advocate Tobani for accused 1 to 4 told or put it to the witness that Senzo Meyiwa was killed by one of the people who were with him in that house in Vosloorus.
It's in fact a theory that the defense has been going with, totally different to the one the state is alleging, that there were intruders in the house. And what Titi Tobani, the attorney who's now representing accused number 1 to 4, has brought before this court, saying that there is a witness who will testify to that effect, that in fact there were no intruders in that house, and that the person who killed or shot Senzo Meyiwa was amongst the people who were in the house. And he went on also to talk about the issue around Zamoguhle Mbata. You'll remember back then he was the first person to be arrested for the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, but those charges were withdrawn. Titi Tobani saying he will bring a witness who will speak about, that identity parade and the description that was given before the court, that the person who entered that house had dreadlocks and big eyes, and that led to the arrest of Zamoguhle Mbata. He put it to the witness that it was on those bases that Zamoguhle Mbata was charged for the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, but later those charges were withdrawn, and the witness then being Tumelo Madlala, the close friend of Senzo Meyiwa, saying that he wasn't aware when he was called for an identity parade. He did not recognize anybody, and therefore did not point out anybody from that particular parade. Let's take a listen, Tembegile, to what the defense's theory is around what happened in that house.
I further put it to you that our late soccer star was shot by one of you in their house. And then
wadutshuka ke uSenzo omunye wenu ababephakathi endlini.
Ayangikwazi lokho.
I don't know about that.
Angikwazi lokho.
I don't know that.
you know what? That's a extraordinary, honest answer. You don't know about that. Because now you were alleging that the accused before court are the ones who walked in and shot. Now you don't know about that. You should have. I asked you a simple question. You say you don't know about it. Let's move on.
No. Ukhuluma nabantu ababesendlini ayabangena endlini.
What was your answer?
You spoke about people who were inside the house, not the intruders.
Yes, sir. What was your answer?
Yeah, sithini impendulo yakho?
Angiyazi lento ayisho ukuthi kwadubula umuntu osendlini ngizwa ngayo.
I don't know about what you're saying, that someone in the house shot. I'm hearing it from you.
And Linda will now only be able to hear cross-examination by Advocate Zandile Mshololo in November, right?
Yes, indeed. The 14th of November is when this matter will sit for further hearing. But before we hear from Advocate Zandile Mshololo, Titi Tobani, who's the lawyer for accused number 1 to 4, will first have to conclude his cross-examination. He ended off today by asking the witness, Tumelo Madlala, about the Netflix documentary that he participated in. You'll remember yesterday he did reveal that he was paid to participate in that documentary, and that he was not only paid for his participation, but also, handing up his or giving the producers of that documentary material in the form of pictures of Senzo Meyiwa, that those pictures were not related to Senzo playing football. Those are pictures, he says, he had in his phone. So today he was asked about how much exactly he was paid for his participation and for those pictures, but the state objecting to that particular line of questioning. But the defense is also saying that yesterday he answered saying that he was indeed paid. So what is the problem? The state should have objected yesterday, and of course that's where the matter ended today, and it will be picked up on the 14th of November, where Titi Tobani will continue with his cross-examination before Advocate Zandile Mshololo for accused number 5.
Linda Mnisi, outside the High Court in Pretoria. Thank you as always.